My name
Yes,
is
sir.
Dr. Olubodun from University of Lagos, Faculty of Dental Sciences. We're here to pursue our objectives as a group, and the group's name is Dental Technology Africa. We shall be doing this meeting to familiarize with the format of our new virtual quizzes. We've done quite a number of them, but today we want to announce fresh format of the meeting. So I have in the house guys, colleagues who are members of the steering team. Please, guys, introduce yourself.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Wanko Stanley Emeka. I'm a copper, currently serving at Akrele Primary Healthcare, Surulere. Thank you.
Nice having you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Gabriel Olarewaju Oyinlola, with Dental Technologies, Nigeria.
Welcome, sir.
Ebenezer, we can't hear you. Okay, our next guy on the line is Omataya Ebenezer. He's member of the steering team. And we proceed with our meeting. Previously, let me remind us that our virtual quiz competition in dental technology takes the format of participants, undergraduate dental technologists from Africa, from accredited institutions in Africa, come online and attend to questions that were already prepared. And these questions are drawn from basic topics in dental technology. But now that has changed. We changed the format now, and the new format is called Teach and Test. And Teach and Test means a member of the team that will be named quiz master will come online, pick a topic of interest, teach the student, draw questions from this a lecture that may not last more than 20 minutes, and ask the student to answer this question within the session, after which we determine who the winner is. But not just per session. We must have several sessions before we can have a winner that can be drawn from our previous quizzes. Now, this is the format, gentlemen, that I want us to get familiar with. Now, the first thing is that once you are a quiz master, you are expected to welcome the student, introduce yourself, let the student introduce themselves. And once the initial introduction is done, the full introduction will include name, institution or place of work, present status, and years of experience, and the country that the student or the participant is coming from. In your quiz, session, you are expected to pick a topic, like I said previously, and that topic means will be drawn from one of the areas or multiple areas of dental technology. So you are expected to give a catchy title to your lecture. You give a catchy title to it, title that will be attractive, will be informative, will be specific, and it will draw seriously on the intelligence of anyone that is listening. Then the next thing is you have to state the overall objectives of the lecture. Give overall objectives to the lecture. The next subtitle of your lecture will be learning objectives. The learning objective is, what do you expect the student to take away from the lecture? You have to state this in your lecture. You have to have prepared this ready. That is, your lecture of the day, you will have written everything that you want to say about the topic, about the title, about the objective. You will have written it down. I want to tell you that I will share this format with you after this lecture, so you may not bother to write anything down. I will send the document to you. Now, once you have stated the title, the objectives, and the learning objectives, then you have to talk about the introduction and background of your topic. That means you dig around important details that reveal important information about your topic. So you have to let the student know the background of what you are saying, the background of the topic that you want to give. Then if it is a lecture that does not involve a practical session, then which means you'll be required to show slides. Your slide can have images that will explain the topic very vividly. So, and it has to show steps and stages of a procedure that you are trying to teach. So, but in the event that you want to teach a practical session, it means you will have your camera in place, and you set up your workbench with materials and tools and equipment that you want to use, and you focus your camera on the demonstration you want to do. So you see, the teach and test a virtual quiz will mean that you have, if you want to do a lecture, you do a lecture, you use slides, you use images. If you want to do a laboratory procedure, demonstration, then you have your camera, you set up your table and begin to show the student the procedure as you explain along. This will be the format, the two formats that you can engage in during your lectures. The steering team members are those that will, first of all, do this teach and test visual quiz competition. What I meant by that is that we're the one that will, it is among us that will select quiz masters. Now, going forward, you have to give a little discussion statement about the topic. Try and make a statement that can spark off a discussion. It could be in the form of a question or the topic on the topic of the day. If discussion ensures fine argument, that would be fine. So, but discussion should not exceed about 5 minutes. That is after you have given your question, your topic, your lecture rather, your lecture. You give your lecture, after you are giving your lecture and you are done with your lecture, allow time for discussion. And this discussion should not take more than maybe 5 minutes. Then after which you draw your conclusion, you do a little summary, then you ask the student, you begin to ask the student questions. This question will have been drawn from the topic that you taught, the topic of the day. So you prepare your lectures in Microsoft Word. And in your presentation, you can divide the screen into two in such a way that the screen for the video conferencing platform takes a small portion of your computer screen, where your lecture already prepared will take another half. So you can read directly from your lecture notes to the student. You can read directly from there. So if, for example, you are talking of truth selection, you prepare everything according to the format I just explained. That means the title, objective, learning objective, introduction and background of your topic. If it is a laboratory procedure, you'll have done the slides. if it is a laboratory demonstration, you have prepared all your lab, your workbench ready. So all that will have been done. Your lecture is not expected to exceed 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, then you'll be able to ask questions from your student based on the topic that you have taught for that day. And the questions too are not expected to exceed 15 questions. You remember our teach and test is different from the former format in that the student earns 250 naira or is equivalent in US dollar for every question they get right. And every question they get right represents a point. And a student must earn 20 points to be able to be paid. 20 points means 5,000 naira. Why we're making it so is that we don't want somebody who is running out of cash to just come to our visual quiz and answer one or two questions and get 1,000 and go away. Or answer about 4 or 5 questions and get 2,000 and go away. We don't want that. We want correct participation. We want intellectual interest in our discussion, in our quiz. So anyone that will be paid, we have to earn 20 points minimum before we can pay the individual. It means the person will have answered 20 questions. So it might not happen in one session. Therefore, an individual might want to participate in several quiz competition to be able to earn 5,000 naira. So the teach and test virtual quiz competition has taken this format from now, and soon we will be beginning, and we will be expecting you to be the quiz master. So let me explain a little about some suggestions I've put forward that I believe we can start with. I want us to start with complete dentures. If you have any topic in mind, you are free to state it after I am done with this presentation. Now, you will agree with me that complete denture, which is otherwise called full denture, takes a lot of stages. 1, obtaining a model. 2, mounting procedure. 3, registration of occlusion. 4, setting up. 5, processing acrylic dentures. I think those 5 notable stages will finalize the production of an acrylic denture, full. So, for example, let me give an example of what we are expecting. Number 1, obtaining model from for a complete denture. It will take something like A, casting and obtaining dental model from an impression. Explain the steps, importance of a good impression, types of impression, and materials used. For example, you can show a slide of a cast depicting an outline of the denture base, undercut area if available, pimples, blowholes if available, and the significance of this to denture fabrication, functionality, and retention. These are the important areas that you need to look at in order to obtain a good model for you to start a complete denture fabrication. And when we're saying complete denture, we're talking of acrylic dentures. And we are going to be looking at conventional method of processing acrylic denture. So we are narrowing ourselves to the use of water bath and all that. Excuse me. Then a B, you can deal in full details about model as an appliance, stating details of its parts and importance to obtaining a good denture from an impression. for the fabrication of complete denture. These are just my suggestion as per what you'll be looking at if you are talking of obtaining model for complete denture. Now, you know, ordinarily in all our laboratories, impression will come from the clinic. It is there our role starts. So if you are fabricating a complete denture, it means that you are going to be looking at the impression. You are going to be examining the impression, how accurate it is, how good it is. Then the normal procedure, rinse it, get rid of the food debris, stick saliva, and so on and so forth. These are going to be the body of your lecture in the quiz competition. And if you are taking this topic, for example, obtaining model for a complete denture, it simply means that after you have done all your presentation to the student, you will have also prepared 15 questions. Now, after these 15 questions, after your lecture, then you begin to ask the student the question one after the other. Anyone who gets correct answer will earn 250. So we're inviting everybody now that have registered for our quiz competition to come in. So anyone that comes in at any time, we're not going to be inviting 5 as we used to do before. Everybody that have registered will come in. And once they come in, then they answer questions, 1 or 2 questions they got right, they've obtained for themselves 500 naira. If they get 4 out of the 15 questions, then they have earned 1,000 naira. But we only pay when they have earned, 5,000 naira. Now, as a quiz master, you are going to give everybody equal chance of questions. So you are not going to ask one person so many questions. If somebody misses a question, then another person takes another question. You don't give bonus. Once a question is missed, that question is struck out. Once a question is missed, nobody earns mark for that question again. So an unanswered question will be struck out, reducing the total number of questions that you will need to ask that day. And you don't need to read your question more than twice. The first time you read the question, if whoever is on the line to answer the question can answer with first reading, fine. If it demands that you should read it second time, then you read it again, but not more than twice. In effect, anybody says you cannot answer the question because you didn't hear well, anybody in the group will be expected to answer the question, but no bonus, like I said. And if nobody can answer any question, that question goes. Now, talking about complete denture, I told you I've outlined 5 steps. Let me give you one more before I take questions from you. Mounting procedure. If you are taking a lecture on mounting procedure, it means you are going to explain the mounting steps, the materials used, e.g., POP, carding wires. B, you are going to be looking at the articulator types and sustainability, the suitability for procedure. For example, if you are using plain line and a plain line articulator and semi-adjustable, they are suitable for different procedures. So you will have to talk about that when you are giving your lecture. Care of model after mounting. How do students care for model after mounting? You have to explain this. Something like sandpapering, proper dressing to provide necessary aesthetics. These are important things you have to discuss under mounting procedure, which is one of the stages for complete denture fabrication. I just gave my own idea. As a quiz master, you are free to put your lectures together. Put your lectures together. Remember that once you put your lectures together, you type it and you will read it to your student. Remember also that you are prepare your questions ready and you ask the student questions. 15 maximum, and your lecture should not exceed 20 minutes. With that, we'll be able to take our visual quiz competition in data technology to another height. Thank you for listening. I will appreciate your question. Okay, you can type your question, Mr. Benissa, because of the constraint you are having with your mic. Mr. Dennis Emihe, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Your picture is not standing upright. Is there anything you can do about that? Aha, great.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You had a little part of that question, that presentation, and I expect that maybe you want to make some contribution. Already we have said a lot about changing the format of our visual quiz competition, and the new format is teach and test. It is from each of you here that the quiz master will come, and what the quiz master will do is pick a topic, prepare it in Microsoft Word on the topic that you want to teach, and after reading it to the students, so to say, because that is how lecture method is, then you will have prepared 15 questions. After reading it to the student, you may allow about 5 minutes discussion. That is, ask question, try to test if the student understands your lecture. Within 5 minutes, you are done with that. Then you start the question. You'll be throwing one question at a time. You can read 2 questions only twice. If a question is not answered, you strike it out. If a question is not answered by one person, the next person can take it. But you will not read the question to the second person. You will not need to read it to him. But you will have read it maximum of twice for whoever will take it. And we are paying 250 Naira for each correct question answered. Then we will only pay out when an individual has earned 5,000 Naira. When an individual has earned 5,000 Naira, then we will make payment. That means that individual will have answered 20 questions. If the individual have answered 20 questions, it simply means that he will earn 5,000 Naira or the equivalent in US dollars. And that money will be paid to the individual. So that was our discussion before you join us. And I now gave example of a new topic that we can take. I said complete venture, and I stated 5 stages. Then I said you are free to do it the way you like. So I will send details of this presentation to you so that you can look at it again. And we will start our virtual quiz competition in April, fully. We can be having it every week so that we start paying money out to those who can make 20 questions.
Okay, thank you, sir. Good evening. So, like, how many sections are we supposed to have before someone become a winner or something? I don't know. Are we supposed to be doing it like every week? Or do we have like 5 sessions, and if we don't get a winner, the quiz competition ends? Or do we do it continuously or something?
We will be doing the lecture continuously. And it will enter your record as someone who have taught online. You can put it in your CV that you teach online. That was one of the benefits for being a quiz master. Now, that is about that. Now, we will be doing it weekly. And we will not stop. We will continue to do it. Except if there's any logistic problem. We'll continue to do it every week. So until an individual have answered a total of 20 questions correctly before we pay. Because 20 questions means 5,000 naira. We are paying only when the student have when an individual student have earned 5,000 naira. So doing it every week, we'll be taking record. If student A was able to answer 2 questions in this lecture, then he has earned 1,000 naira. If in another lecture he was not able to participate, he will earn nothing. If in another lecture he was able to earn another 3 questions, that means he has gotten for himself 750 naira. And it goes on and on and on and on like that until the individual gets 5,000 before we pay.
5,000 naira.
5,000 naira, yes.
Okay.
Any other question? Yes,
Okay,
this question is coming from Mr. Ebenezer. I will read the question because his mic is not good. He said, I am of the opinion that we limit the number of participants and as well as be concise and definite with the lecture period, considering the amount of data that will be consumed by participants, lest it becomes an object of discouragement. It has to be commensurate. I would suggest 20 minutes lecture and 20 minutes question time for strictly 5 participants. Thanks. That is a question from Mr. Ebenezer. Because he believes that too many participants might be quite taxing for the lecturer. Let me take that question. Now, let me start from the end. The number of participants for your lecture is not important. If 20 people attended your lecture, it simply means that you will be talking to 20 people at a time. So you only draw 15 questions. And those who got these 15 questions right will earn their marks. And those marks will be kept in their record until an individual earns 5,000 naira, which means answer 20 questions. It simply means that an individual cannot take too many questions per session. So we will not be able to limit 5 participants. We will allow everybody to come in to participate. Now, considering the number of minutes, you said 20 minutes for lecture, 20 minutes for question. We may not even take up to that. I know our DTA members are very smart. 20 minutes to give a lecture is a lot of time. And you can cover, because we are going to be touching on short topic. So you don't have to take too many minutes to complete your lecture. And you don't have to take too many questions, minutes to ask questions. That is why you can only read your question once, twice maximum. And if the question is not answered, it is knocked out. So we want this quiz competition to impart our students, to make them to be interested in lectures, to know more about data technologies, to continue to pursue academics and scholarship. So that is the purpose of this teach and test virtual quiz competition. So we will not be able to reduce the number of participants. Everybody is welcome to come, but they must have registered in our must register with our platform for the lecture. Any other question? You're welcome to ask questions. Mrs. Ajuba from Ghana, you're welcome.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
How many minutes are we giving to each question?
No, we're not giving minute to question. You will ask your question, okay? And you will expect them to answer. Of course, we can't allow a very long pause. If an individual, because of network problem, could not hear you or went offline, that question will go to another person, provided it has not been answered. But you don't read the question more than twice so that we can save time. And you make your question very simple and very specific so that the student can understand your question. It doesn't have to be a very long statement, but the question will be drawn from the lecture that you just gave.
Okay, good evening, everybody.
Yep.
Okay, I think Ebenezer is of the opinion that the 250 naira per question as compared to the amount of data to be used by the participants is quite much and might become burdensome to the participants. But I think what I understand from what you are trying to draw out from this model is less of a benefit, more like a learning. It's less of an earning as much as it is for learning. So they shouldn't come with the mindset of earning per se, but the mindset of learning. So, and I believe that this is a model that is still under test. We can, test run it and see how it goes, see whether they accept it well or not, and then we'll know whether to continue with the model or not. That's just my opinion.
Mr. Dennis, that's a fantastic one. The first one we're going to be doing now will be pilot, because we've not done it before. Definitely, every new system has to be tested, and if there's any need for review, we'll review. But honestly speaking, any student that is coming with the mindset of getting money has missed it. Now, it costs Data Technology Africa a lot of US dollars, and we are offering it free. For example, somebody is coming to take lecture free. He's going to draw from the experiences of his senior colleagues. He's going to draw from the experiences of his peers within the lecture. And on top of that, he's going to earn money, but he's not ready to make any sacrifice. That is funny. So, although it's subject to review, but I don't expect any student to come in with the mindset of trying to calculate how much he will make compared with the data he will use. Look at all of you here. I know DTA Africa is not paying you for the data you are using today. You are making sacrifices, and it's for the profession. And that is the mission of Data Technology Africa. We want to serve our profession. We want to help lift up those who are coming behind. We want to contribute to their career and professional progress. That is why you are here. You left everything you are doing to attend this meeting. You are making a huge sacrifice in time and in money. And you're intellectual also. Nobody is paying you for this. So if a student who is coming to have everything free and be paid for listening to a lecture and answering questions still complain about data, then there's so much to consider in that situation. So please, let's speak to our students. Let's them not come with the mindset of money, making money. The money is just to encourage them. The lecture is for them to think and to read, because we discovered that students are not reading these days. So if they see somewhere that they will earn some stipend and it will make them to read, that is good for the profession. That is our aim. That is the mission of DTA Africa.
Okay, sir. I still have a suggestion to make, sir.
Good.
Since we are having more students this time around, why don't we do something like we should throw a question? If we have more participants, we should throw the question down. Then whichever person that can answer a question earns the mark. If there's a way we can do something like that, whichever person gets as an answer the question right earns the mark. That way we can give maybe each question like 2 minutes for someone to like answer, or a minute or thereabout. I don't know. This if a person answers the question down, or maybe writes the person's name down, like this person has gained 250 now for each question he answered or something. Because what I'm saying this is, if someone is supposed to answer a question and maybe along the line the network goes off, it looks as if maybe I don't know, it doesn't sound right to me if we're going to do it that way. So I just think maybe we should throw the question down, then anybody can easily answer the question and end the mark. Then whoever is online, then we answer the question.
Fantastic.
I think that way will be better.
You are the quiz master. You have liberty to make decisions. But my fear in this approach is that some people might be answering questions while some people may not be able to answer questions. If you throw the question to the entire participant, one person might keep answering questions while the other may not have the chance. He will feel that he has wasted his time if he was not given a chance to answer questions. So, but you are the quiz master, and we are still testing this method. I expect that you'll be able to decide how you share the 15 questions among those who are online so that nobody will feel cheated. So if student A answer a question, for example, and another question is thrown, I don't expect you to give student A that question again because they have had a chance. So, but you are the quiz master, you have to decide what to do. Now, a question from Mr. Matayo. The question is this. He said, how about a situation in which a lecturer has 20 students? It means he or she will have to provide as many questions as possible so that each participant will have a chance to answer a question before drawing the curtain on the presentation, as opposed to 15 questions limit. Now, the fact is that if we can have 20 students per session, that is awesome. We've never had that many. Then, of course, it will not be possible that the 15 questions will serve everybody. But then, we are looking at the fluctuation of internet, and we are catching on that our 15 questions will be sufficient, because that the 20 people will remain online consistently is very difficult for anybody to predict. And if we ask that it should be 20 questions, it will take more time, eat more data. So that's why we limited it to 15 questions. I wanted to say 10, but I know 10 is few. 15 questions, any number of people that can get it. If any person cannot get a question to answer, maybe because he missed the question or because he was not consistent online, he had another chance again to come when we are doing another one. It's not compulsory that a student must earn something per session. If, for example, his internet is not good, if, for example, he can't answer the questions, or if, for example, he's not consistent, it's just going on and off on the platform. So let's limit it to 50 questions. 15 questions for as many students as can come, and let's see how it goes. We can review later from experience. Gentlemen, any question? Now, if for example, we don't have question, I miss the voice of Matayo today. I can see him trying to speak, but his mic is not working.
Okay.
No problem. I think that if you are ready, if we are ready, we begin to take our quiz competition from coming week. I mean, from April, the first Sunday in April. If Sunday is not okay, let's suggest now whether we can choose another date. We chose Sunday because some students those days said Sunday is okay for them. That's why we selected this time. I will feel that many of us will have been back from church and will be able to attend. But if you have another suggestion on time, that would be fantastic. You are the lecturer. We call you quiz master. You are lecturer and quiz master as well. So you have to decide when you meet your student. And you have to be sure it's convenient for your time for your student, so that you don't have fewer number of people to speak to per time.
Okay. Good everybody once again. First of all, what I want to encapsulate from the whole discussion we've had so far is that we have to make it very clear to the students that this is more like a learning tool that we are rolling out for them. And then the stipend that goes along with it is just an incentive, not really basically for learning, because I think it's basic. Because what most of us, like Ebenezer, is trying to point out, of course, which is understandable, is for the advantage and benefit of the students, in as much as they are going to be using data. So I think that is what he's trying to point out. Then as for the time, the day we are going to be having the lecture, I think that Sunday is generally okay, but I've had some students and their complaints being that most of the times their fellowship meets in the evening on Sunday. So I think this is something we are going to have to, review and talk about with the students, because they are the ones we're organizing for, and find out when it would be the most convenient for them as of now, because then they were mostly out of school and during a holiday period. So now most of them are having fellowship in the evening. So we're going to be looking at either Saturday evening or Sunday evening. That is what I think. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Dennis. I think it's okay if the student will be ready to come online Saturday evening, fine. Only some of them complain there are a lot of activities on on Saturday. I want to also remind you that everyone that must participate in this teach and test visual quiz competition in dental technology, we have to register. Anyone who comes online and answer question without registration has forfeited his chance. Is not going to earn anything. So the student who will earn something is someone who has previously registered with us. I don't know if any of you have read your email recently. Have you opened your email recently?
Yes, I have, but I saw a mail from DTA, but I have not really perused properly.
Okay. Yes, this gives detail about to students. I copy all of you. I copy the steering team. I send the mail to all the students that have registered on our platform. So they are the ones that are invited. Very soon now, we will invite them to come and participate in our next teach and test future quiz competition. These are the only ones that are qualified to come in. Any other person that is not registered will not earn any money, but is free to participate. They will not earn anything. That is all about it. So any student you are going to inform about this should please register. Register those who have not registered previously. And those who have won prizes before can still participate. But it's meant for undergraduate students, one, or those who have left school not more than a year ago. Not those who have left school about 2, 3, 4 years ago, no. The fellow who will participate is a fellow who is in the school or just finished a year ago. He can participate. If it's a seat a year ago and we discover we will not make payment. We will not make payment to the students. So please, let's take note of that when we're informing anybody who is interested to participate. Any other question? Oh, gentlemen, it's been awesome. I appreciate your participation. I assume that we're okay. And I want to tell you that I will send to your mail, or I share it in the group, the new document about our next, about our visual quiz. I've suggested 5 steps for making full denture. 1, obtaining model for complete denture. 2, mounting procedure. 3, registration of occlusion. 4, setting up. 5, processing acrylic dentures. Once I send these details to you, you pick any one of your interests. Read up your test around it. Prepare your lecture after this format, which I said before. There will be preambles in the lecture where students will introduce themselves. There will be a title which will be catchy. There will be overall objective of the lecture, which you will state and read to the student. There will be learning objectives. That is what the student will take away from the lecture. Then there will be an introduction and background of your topic, which will dig around important details that reveal very cogent details about your topic. Then the laboratory procedure. The laboratory procedure, if you are not doing a demonstration, you use slides, you use images, and you prepare your lecture in Microsoft Word. And I suggested that you divide your screen into 2, so you can read directly to the student. This is lecture. Lecture means you are verbalizing, you are saying something to student. So you can prepare all your lecture maybe on obtaining a model from an impression for complete denture. Then you read everything you have prepared in Microsoft Word to the student. That is your lecture. But in case you are doing laboratory demonstration, you prepare your table ready and focus your camera to whatever you are demonstrating. So as you are demonstrating the procedure, you are explaining. And within 20 minutes, you are done with that. Already, you have prepared questions, you ask your student. This is the format it will take. I will send it to you, and I will appreciate your comment as well. I will share in the WhatsApp group. Since many of you don't read your mail, I'll just share it in your our WhatsApp group, so you look at them. Pick a topic out of these 5, at least for us to start. Then later, you are free to pick topic, but you discuss it with us before you present in the quiz competition. So topics are obtaining model for complete denture, mounting procedure, registration of occlusion, setting up, processing acrylic dentures. I have put some notes under each of these subtitles, and you will read them from the document. Then you begin to prepare. If you want to take the first, please let us know in the WhatsApp group. Let us know which topic you are taking and the date in the week that is convenient for you. We're starting from April, the first Sunday in April. So let's start writing, let's start reading. Hello guys, can I hear you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So, any comments?
Yeah, thank you very much. I believe that this session. Hello. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you.
All right, thank you very much. I believe that this discussion session was very enlightening. I believe that it's going to better prepare us for the task ahead and what we want to achieve. So with this, I think this is the right start in the right direction. I believe with God by our side and with our efforts, combined efforts, we are going to make a whole lot of success with this. But thanks to Dr. Borden for everything he has done. We really appreciate both your time and your efforts to making this a reality. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks so much. I appreciate your comments, and I count on your support, and I trust that I always have you around. These are the 3 people that started it. And we are the 3 people that are left now. Every other person has gone. So let's make it a success, a huge success. I appreciate your coming. God bless.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, bye.
Have a great day, sir.
You too.